Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So with the Heidel Ball coming up next week, there's probably going to be a lot of things they're going to talk about, such as new content, whether you're a new player or an endgame player. And I think they're going to be doing a lot of seasonal stuff and going to give rewards for new players and returning players. So what I wanted to talk about was important things to do during the seasons. So basically the seasons are the beginner zones, more or less, and it helps you catch up to endgame players. So 5 things that you should do during your seasons. You don't have to particularly do it all in once, but I think it's something to do before you graduate, just because it's going to help you speed up progression towards once you graduate and you're ready for the main game, more or less. So anyway, I made a list of things that I think new players are going to be interested in checking out, because after the Heidel Ball, I feel like new players are going to be joining the game or trying out the game for the first time. So here we go, in no particular order, just do them all eventually at your own pace. Number 1 being the Magnus Quest. So down here, there's this thing called the Abyssal Well. Doing the Magnus Quest allows you to unlock it, and also it rewards you with a free pen armor, which is, you know, a lot of silver saved, especially for new players. What it's called is, if you just search up Magnus, it's kind of like a long quest chain over here, and you just do this, and then I think nowadays it's probably fine. I remember when I did this on day 1, it was kind of buggy, but it's definitely an interesting quest line, and overall, you should do it because you get rewarded and you get to fast travel. So if you're on console, I know this from experience just because I tried it out. I don't think they have it yet, but you know, with the whole remastered console thing, it might be coming soon. But either way, if you're on PC, I believe the quest starts in here in Velia, and you talk to Eileen or something, with the potion vendor, and then you start this one. So it rewards you with the free pen boss gear, and we talked about that in other videos, so it's definitely worth doing. Next, I would recommend doing the progression pass. Now, I'm not sure if this is seasonal exclusive, but this one is definitely something to check out, because if you do this, it basically is the tutorial of the game. It teaches you how to do basic things, for all the way from enhancing, questing, and various life skills. And it also gives you a lot of rewards for doing milestone objectives. And I think this is actually worth doing, just because whether you're a beginner and you're doing this for the first time, you're probably going to need all of these materials anyway. And yeah, it just gives you a bunch of goodies to do, and it teaches you the game. So definitely don't forget that this exists, and make sure to check it out eventually. So it also has a bunch of, like, you know, information to help you along the way. So definitely good for new players, helps you learn the game easier, and you get rewarded for that. The next thing I would recommend doing on seasonals is going for your infinite potions. These are Ornette and Ordor Spirit essences. Essentially, you know, in game, you would have to press your potion manually if you're a new player. Once you get your infinite potions, is what they call them, you never have to think about that again, and it just helps you with one less thing you have to do, along with obtaining your T4 fairy. So they have a quest that gives you a fairy by default, but eventually your goal is to get it to tier 4 with the best skills and everything. That's just a time-consuming thing. But going for your infinite potions on seasonal characters is something you should do on seasons. 1, because there's less people on seasonal servers generally, and 2, it's probably better to do it early on than when you're at like 280 AP, because you're going to be feeling like the spots you grind for the infinite potions are less important, and you're just like, oh, I should have done this earlier than later. So do it on seasons, and trust me, it'll feel like you're actually progressing instead of hitting a wall once you're already geared and you're just like, oh, I should do that. But nowadays, you can buy these off the market, so generally my recommendation is just grind the spots you enjoy and then buy them off the market. But if you don't want to do that and you want to say you earned it yourself, I have a video of that. I'll leave it in the description on the best spots to do it. But it's something to do while your AP matches the grind zone area, because it just feels like progression versus hitting a wall. So ultimately, if you're already higher than the gear score recommended, just go grind the highest end spots you can, make the most silver, and then buy it. Otherwise, there's a bunch of quests to do weekly, and it's right here, this quest called Legacy of Goddess Sylvia, and it's a weekly quest that gives you basically pity pieces, and then once you get 100 of them, you turn it into the NPC for a piece, and then you get 3 pieces and combine it into the potion. And so, yeah, over time, chances are it won't take you that many weeks, just because the drop rate of the full piece eventually is not too bad, but also you get these while grinding anyway, so you're not making 5 a week, you're probably making like, I don't know, maybe 10 an hour or something, so it's not really that bad these days, but it's definitely something that I would say is more mandatory these days, especially if you're going into endgame versus doing it later. The next thing I want to talk about is adventure journals. And when you hear that, they're called adventure logs technically. But these are something you should do simply because, well, one, there's a lot of them and they're going to keep expanding it over time. So you might as well try to catch up as fast as possible. But also, if you click this over here, it does give you family bonuses. So basically what this means is you see your sheet AP or whatever over here, this number, these stats will be permanent. So for example, if you do them, the next time you start a new character or next time you make a seasonal character, you have these stats already. So basically you're one step ahead of like the actual new players, and you'll have an advantage being able to do it a lot faster, and you just have the knowledge and everything. So over the years, they've kind of like revamped these journals to make it easier in a way, or less confusing. And it's definitely something you could just breeze through pretty quickly. I would say the important ones to do are the ones that give you AP, DP, like the important stats. Like AP and DP, I think, are the most important. All the other ones like HP, stamina, you just get along the way. So usually the AP and DP ones are like at the end of it, just because it gives you the important stats. You get these on the side. But with that said, you want to do them all eventually. The permanent enhancement chance and the Valk's enhancement chance, these are optional, but I think they are important. So the max you can get for the permanent enhancement chance is 5, and you get them by questing. And is it mandatory to get 5? No, you don't. You could just buy most of your gear these days, and then Valk's for enhancing. If you like enhancing, it's probably worth doing. If you don't like enhancing, it's not mandatory. However, the AP and DP ones are pretty mandatory, so definitely worth doing. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was kind of going back into the infinite potions, was the obtain a tier 4 fairy. This one is better to do early on than later, just because getting a fairy gives you a bunch of skills that I think are important. And in another video, I talked about what the best ones are, but just as a TLDR, continuous, or actually miraculous cheer is probably the most important skill, because this allows you to auto potion when you go below a certain health. And 5 is the most important, just because the tier like goes from level 1 to 5, basically reduces the cooldown. So if you have at max, basically your cooldown matches the potion, so you never have to really think about it again. You set it once and you're done. So for all of you who are wondering how does this work, if you have miraculous cheer, you'll get this option right here that has potions, and basically it'll show you all your potions, and then you set it, and then it has a little slider, and then you basically tell your fairy when you want to use it. And so I'd recommend setting it at, like, you know, your health potion to always recover. You can always have it always use, but at 98 is generally a good thing. So yeah, either way, it doesn't matter. But and then your resource 1 just whenever. Technically, I think there was a reason why people didn't have it at always use and kept it at 98 or something. I don't really remember that reason, but I think it had to do with something with like CCs popping off at certain times, or I don't know. Either way, just keep it at a high number, and then resources, as long as you're never at 0, I think that's the ultimate thing. Number 2 on the fairy list would be Feathery Steps, because it allows you to carry more weight inventory or limit before anything else, and so that prevents you from having to spend a little bit extra money on the pearl shop, so you can just carry more without buying extra weight. Always nice. Continuous care is a little bit less important these days, simply because back in the day, this is what we used to use. If I still have a preset, I don't know if I still have it. Either way, okay, so let me just show you what we used to use back in the day. Here, you know all these elixirs? Yeah, we had to combine them into blue elixirs, and you had to basically use all of these, and the continuous care popped them for you on cooldown. Nowadays, in 2025, we have these things called harmony drafts, and you just, if you don't have continuous care, you just put this on your hotbar, use it every 15 minutes, along with your other ones. So is it still important? Yeah, I think it's nice, but do you need like a level 5 continuous care? Chances are you don't. I think for most people, a level like 3 or 4 is way more than enough. And I'll even show you what I use. So technically I do have it because I have a 5, but if you don't have a continuous care 5 on, you would just take off this one, because I believe this one is like 15 slots or something. So yeah, so if you don't have it, that's no big deal. What you would do is just put on like the less ones, like perfumes and then food, and then just manual pot the harmonies in general and put on whatever else. So there's that. It's a little bit less important nowadays, but still nice to have. And then the other 2 are very optional. It doesn't really matter. So number 1 priority, Miraculous Cheer, then Feathery Steps, and then literally everything else. So those are the 5 important things I wanted to talk about early on. The next bonus thing that I wanted to talk about is on your seasonal, once you're about done with seasons, let's say your gear looks something like this. This is my seasonal. I just never bothered to graduate it. Your gear can go past pen. Now gear goes all the way to deck, which is basically, instead of 1 to 5, it goes from 5 to 10. And once you're past seasons, you can enhance this to deck, and it'll give you a pen black star. You exchange it at an NPC, and it gives you like a super endgame weapon. But the reason why I would say this is post-season is because even if you get it, you can't use your black star until you graduate. So it's not free, but it's cheaper than buying one off the market significantly. So this is one of those things where, like, right after you graduate, it's probably a good idea to start working on it. So enhance your gear post pen, and then you can get 1 weapon and 1 Charizard at Tet, I believe. So yeah, this can convert into endgame stuff that you'll be using later on, and so that'll help you progress with your gearing and stuff in the future. So hopefully that helped you. There's probably a lot more things. Maybe we'll do a part 2 in the future. But I think those are 5 important things that I would recommend new players doing on the seasonal servers. And yeah, that's about it. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you guys come back. We're definitely going to be covering the Heidel Ball and all the new updates coming out, and as well as a bunch of other stuff. But until then, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.